Stuck in the Middle podcast live.
Yep.
Another episode, man. Another Sunday.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we got Chiko in the building, man. Iko, you want to do us the honors and introduce the guest, man?
You already did.
The world, Chiko.
Yeah, Chiko came with that energy, that fire, man.
Straight from the door, I'm like,
You gotta be alive. Gotta be alive.
Already selling us business. No, but today we have a very special guest in the building. He's the founder and CEO of Perfect Staffing and Perfect Office Solutions. I would add LLC to it. He's an investor, serial entrepreneur, mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Chiko Abengowe. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, you didn't butcher it like second grade.
Is Chiko short for something?
Yes. Chiko is short for Chiko Dairy, the English version of it, but Chikoder, the Igbo version.
Yeah.
But that's what Chiko is short for, and I think that was derived from kids just butchering the name. You know how when you come here and kids don't even know how to say your name.
Yeah,
man,
that's where that came from, folks.
I think if you're not from Ghana, you go because Ghana they have like the Brown, Smith, English names.
And how did that even come about? How come?
Colonialism. But you Igbo. You mentioned Igbo.
Yes. I'm Igbo. I was born in Jos. My mom and my dad, they were ministers, so they used to travel all around Nigeria, preaching the gospel. And I was born in Jos. But my dad is originally from Abia State, from small little town, village area called Isialangwa. But that's where I'm from. Grew up there, around there, till I was about 7. And then came to the U.S., and I've been here ever since, pretty much.
You can hear the grammar. There's no accent. No, nothing. No, nothing.
He said he came here 7 years old.
You been back since you?
No. I haven't been
What's
back
stopping you?
yet.
Nah, listen, you gotta go back to the motherland.
I got to.
All this success, you want to just eat it by yourself?
Go share the wealth, man.
I'm gonna go back eventually.
You gotta find your wife.
But it's just, I think it's just because I've just been busy. It's so funny because actually, I think saying that I'm busy is an excuse, but I just haven't found time or made time. But I used to think I would go when I got out of college. And then when I got out of college, then I started working immediately. Then I said, okay, once I start working and change jobs, I was going to go. I changed jobs. I didn't go. And then I ended up, starting my own business. And, now everything is kind of a little bit hectic where I can't really leave for a month. If I go, I want to be there in like a month. Okay. I don't want nobody to bother me. Yeah. I don't want to get no phone calls, nothing. So I got to put myself in a position to be able to travel and travel well.
Perfect segue. How's business? How's business?
Business is popping.
Yeah,
I can't complain.
Before you get into that, right? Let me just give you guys a little, story, a little story. And this is directly from you.
Okay.
It's, at the age of 26, you decided to quit your day job as a healthcare staffing manager and recruiter to become a full-time entrepreneur by launching a staffing firm, Perfect Staffing Solution. 2 years later, over 50 employees and over $1 million in revenue. In 2014, you felt like, that wasn't enough. So you went ahead, and launched Perfect Office Solution, focused on, providing entrepreneurs with an ecosystem where they could build successful enterprises with Perfect Staffing and Perfect Solution. How did this come about? As Reflex said, perfect segue to get into it. How did it come about?
I mean, wow, you read that so beautifully. It sounds so sexy. You wrote it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have $1 million man in the building.
It sounds so sexy when it's being read. Yeah. All of the struggles are taken out. Just the sweetness is in there. I think it's the way Perfect Staffing came about. And I always say Perfect Staffing is my bread and butter. That's my main chick. Don't disrespect the main chick. But the way that came about was, don't you know how you go to school? When you come here, your parents say, go to school, graduate, and get a good job.
Right.
Correct? So, in the midst of doing that, and I went to school. In high school, I got all 4.0s, all 16 semesters.
wow.
and graduated.
What school did you go to?
I went to Flowers High School.
You local, yeah.
Yeah. So graduated high school, got the Bill and Melinda Gates scholarship, so I can go to any college that I wanted to, and they were going to fund it. So I decided to go to Towson. Went to Towson. Passed.
What college you went to Towson, man?
Yeah. I went to Towson.
Not Harvard.
No. I want, you know, I for some reason I just wanted to be close home.
Yeah.
So I went to Towson. It gave me a different experience that I was kind of looking for out of college. I wanted to be around a population that I wasn't really so used to. And if you know Towson's population, you know what I'm talking about. So I did that, graduated, magna cum laude, whatever you call that thing. But got a job, started working, and you know, my first year bought the toys, bought a car. And the second year bought a penthouse condo. Then I started, you know, thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? I realized that I'm not really living a lifestyle that I wanted to. I'm still kind of living an average lifestyle. You get what I'm saying? I felt like I could do more. I felt like I could become more. And I felt like I was limited, you know, going to a 9-to-5 job. So I just started in my mind, started thinking, okay, how do I become great? How do I do better? How do I do more? And then that's around the same time I started getting introduced to like entrepreneurship and really taking it seriously. So I just started to get my finances together. And then just at the age of 26, December 3rd, walked in and told my boss that was my last day.
Dang.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
Man, I felt great. It's like, you know, when I got in my car, it was like everything was slow motion. You know, I got in my car. I felt like I was driving home and everything was slow motion. Got in the house, everything was slow. But then the next day I realized, you know what? Hold up. I have bills to pay.
So you didn't have like a...
You didn't prepare for that?
You didn't prepare. You just said I'm quitting, but you didn't have like...
No, I mean, like, so one of the things that I, you know, especially when I'm talking to other folks that want to be entrepreneurs, I say you got to get your personal finance right. So it's like, you know, mind you, remember I graduated college debt free. So that was already, you know, a stepping stone. And then when I was working, I made sure I was investing in the stock market. I had a property that I was renting out. So things like that already, I had that. But still, that large chunk of money that was coming in from my employer at the time when I quit my job, I didn't have that. But the little amount of money I had coming in from other sources, I had that. So that helped me to really commit to starting my own business. I think that's what helped. But that's how, so December 3rd, I quit. December 4th, I stayed home. I didn't want to see anybody because I was like, I hope this is the right decision that I made. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do next. But on December 4th, I said, you know what? Let me start with where I know, which is I was a recruiter for the past 4 years.
Right.
So let me do staffing. So on December 5th, I drove up to Baltimore, and then registered Perfect Staffing Solutions, and then that was the start of everything. And then a few weeks later, from that point, I found an office space, which is actually right down the street from the studio. That's where it all started, right down the street from here in Laurel. Found the office space, signed the lease, and just started. And then started coming to work every single day and just making phone calls, and then just kind of went from there.
Why Perfect Staffing? Why did you go into that as opposed to, I don't know, clothing or whatever random other thing?
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad I went Perfect Staffing first because it was what I knew. So I had already been doing it for the past 4 years. Right. So I knew it. It was comfortable. It's not something new, or I already knew how the model worked. So I'm extremely grateful that I went that route first because, you know, if I went, you know, let's say the second company that I run now, which is Perfect Office, if I went that route first, there's no way I would have made it because for me, Perfect Staffing, because I knew it so well, I was able to start with very little funds. Like, you know, if you read about staffing companies, it always talks about how you need six figures to start. But I started Perfect Staffing with less than $1,000.
Break down the difference between your two companies, Perfect Staffing and Perfect.
Yeah, people always mix the two because because they're both start with perfect. But Perfect Staffing is a staffing agency. Okay, so some people call it an employment agency that focuses on the healthcare arena, the IT arena, the administrative, and then eventually we're going to be getting into light industry and construction. But that's what Perfect Staffing is, an employment agency that's what Perfect Staffing is. And then Perfect Office, I would say it's a real estate based organization, company that focuses on providing affordable workspace solutions for entrepreneurs, pretty much. So 2 different companies, but in a way they kind of intermingle because, Perfect Staffing, we rent office space from Perfect Office. And then, Perfect Office, we get our staff from Perfect Staffing. So, in a way they're connected, but totally 2 different companies.
And they're a mirror of you because you an entrepreneur, and then you give an opportunity for other entrepreneurs, and then you came up in recruitment. That's what you did professionally, and you just went off on your own and you was doing it. So that's, man.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much what it is. Like, I started off with recruiting, and I think the way is a lot of times people always ask me, how did Perfect Office come about? Like, how do you go from like healthcare recruiting and staffing to like real estate? Well, kind of the way it came up is like when I started a staffing company, right? I was renting office space basically right down the street. But the guy I was renting office space from, he was basically kind of doing what Perfect Office is now. He was starting to do that. So he had about 20 office spaces, very small, but he wasn't really focused on it. So it was like 2 or 3 tenants already there. I was like the 3rd tenant. Right. So I was asking them, hey, how come you have all these office spaces, but they're empty? I was telling them there's entrepreneurs like myself that need office space like this. Like, you need to go out and market this.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand that there's affordable office spaces, out here. So he was like, and by looking at his face, I can tell he didn't really care. So I was like, how about this? How about I become your property manager? Right? I'll market this space for you, but you just give me a discount on my rent. And he was like, yeah, sure. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Was it that he's too loaded not to like care?
Well, you know what? When he said that, at first I was like, why? Okay.
Now he just felt like, real quick.
Well, the thing, I found out that basically this guy had millions of buildings. I'm not going to say millions of buildings. Hundreds of buildings. Yeah. And one of his buildings alone is making him $1 million of revenue a month. So he's not going to run around chasing people for $500. You know what I'm saying? So, so I was like, so when he said yes, I said, okay. So then what I did was, in the process of me building Perfect Staffing at that location, I was also recruiting entrepreneurs to fill office space there. So 6 months later, I filled the whole space. So, and he was like, wow, how did you do it? I said, well, this space is needed. I didn't really have to do much. I just had to share it with other people. And then, he said, well, wow, since you did such a great job, would you mind sharing 10% of the profits with me?
Sheesh.
I said, why not? I said, why not? Yeah. So, and then, when he was doing that, and then I implemented, because he used to collect checks, and I was like, well, there's other ways. You don't have to collect checks. There's other ways to pay online. So I implemented that. So now he was getting his money even faster. So he's like, man, you're doing a good job with this. And I was like, yeah, you know what I've been thinking? I'm thinking we should open up another location. So he's like, no, not interested in that. So that's when I started to do a little bit of reading about them and the family and their organization, and find out that they have bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? So I said, you know what? It might not be an opportunity for him, but this is the opportunity for me. Yeah. So I asked him, I said, hey, do you have an office space that's empty, that's big enough? I want to do the same thing. And at that point, he was like, yeah, sure. We got a 14,000 square feet spot in Beltsville. It's been empty for 3.5 years. We can show it to you, but we know you're not going to like it. I said, well, show it to me. So we walked through the space. It wasn't sexy, but I knew what I could do with the space. And so signed a lease with them. And then, and that was our first location in Beltsville. So we opened with 26, because I asked them, I said, hey, I'm going to take half the space if we can successfully fill the half the space, we'll take the other half. So we started with 26 offices, and then once we filled that, then we added another 20 for a total of 46 offices. And then that went well. So then I came back to the Laurel location and said, hey, I mean, I helped you build this, but you're not really interested in this business. How about this? Let me take over the Laurel space, which Perfect Staffing was in. And also, I want to sign another lease with you to take up another 20 offices. And that's how Laurel came about. And we filled Laurel. And then in January, this January, we launched Lanham. With 50 offices, and that's already 100% occupied.
Now,
So.
German
from Igbo land.
It's just saying it, man. It sounds so sweet, man. It just sounds so sweet. I'm like, yeah, I can wake up tomorrow and do the same thing.
You can. I'm telling you, you can.
Nah, tell us the struggles in that.
From everything, from the struggle, for everything he's saying, it just sounds perfect. Like this guy is just so perfect.
like,
Nah, tell us the struggles in that.
I don't think this is rehearsed.
I'm gonna tell you the struggle. I'm gonna tell you the struggle. If you want the struggle,
Like,
I'll
cause
tell
you know, so like stuck in the middle is bringing people like you from African
Yeah.
descent. You know what I'm saying? Just share your stories, experiences, and
Yeah.
to motivate, empower, and encourage the next person. And it's just so perfect. Everything you said, the struggles.
Yeah. So I mean, the struggles are real. For example, like I was saying, when I started Perfect Staffing, I only had $1,000 to my name, pretty much, right? And mind you, I told you I had a car, and then I had a penthouse condo where I was having a lot of fun before all that stuff ceased. Because when you're starting a business, there's a lot of investment and a lot of time that goes into starting that business. Like, you have to really be disciplined. Like, you can't just say, one thing I learned along the way is you have different levels of entrepreneurship. Okay, you have the entrepreneurs who are they're fine with having a day job but then doing a side hustle, right? But I never really wanted to be that. I wanted to be the type of entrepreneur that I put everything into my business for it to produce a certain result, So what I did was I gave up. I used to do Airbnb. So what I did was, I was like, I have this penthouse condo by, Silver Spring. I was like, okay. And that's when Airbnb was getting hot. So I was like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to list my property on Airbnb and see what happens. So I posted it on there, and my place was booked the rest of the year. I said, whoa. I was like,
Must have been a nice spot too.
Condo.
So I was like, okay, wow, that happened pretty quick. But now I got to find a place to. I mean, I like the money that was coming from it because then at least I could feed myself while I'm trying to pay rent for this office space and support my business. So I had to basically move in back with my mom. In a way, you know what I'm saying? For a year, I moved in with my mom.
That's big.
While building my business. You know what I mean?
Shout out to moms, man.
Exactly, because my mom, when I had got out of college, I stayed with her for like a year, and then I bought the property. So she was always complaining or talking to me about how I don't want to spend time with her and be with the family. So I use it as an opportunity to go back. I said, Mom, guess what? I'm coming back home. She said, come on. So, but I just needed a place to stay. So stayed there for about a year. And then while I was renting out my condo, there was, I was like, okay, I'm bringing in good money. But I need a space where I can really, really focus to take my business to the next level. Because when you're staying with family, there's certain things that, sometimes it gets a little, distracting in a way. So, yes, it gets a little bit distracting.
I'm trying to get away from it.
You got to. So I found this couple, right? Actually, within the struggle. Okay, so this actually works out well. So I was renting out my condo, but I was, I don't want to say illegally. So illegally renting out my condo. Because Airbnb at the time and my condo association, in order to rent out your condo, you had to actually get a license. So I get something in the mail saying that basically I was illegally renting out my place, that I pay $1,000 fine or come to this class to take this class in Tacoma Park to get my license. And I was like, I got $1,000. So I went to the class. So while I was at the class, I met this couple. Okay. So this couple, they were trying to sell their property. They had just renovated this property really nice. They were trying to sell the property, and So they asked me, they were like, hey, Chiko, when you finish this class, what property are you going to rent out? I said, well, technically I'm already renting out my property. So they asked a little bit more questions, and they found out that I do Airbnb, and they didn't know what it was. So I introduced it to them. They're like, well, wow, that's a pretty cool concept. So is that something that we can do with our house? I don't know if it's something they could do with their house, but I saw this as an opportunity that I can help this couple, and I can, possibly make some money from them. They show me the house. The house is amazing, and the house had an attic, right? Your place through Airbnb and help you make money, and they just wanted to make like $3,000, $4,000 to cover the cost, the mortgage. But I thought I could make them more, so I just sold them on this idea of me living in the attic, being the host of the house, and having different families come and stay there, right? So by the time,
this guy thinks
so by the time they've like bought, spent like $10,000 furnishing, because the house had like 8 rooms, and furnishing everywhere, making everywhere this place looked amazing. If I show you pictures of this place looks it's amazing. So by the time everything was done and we started the process, I was bringing them in about $10,000, $11,000 a month. And they were giving me about maybe $500 to $1,000 of it, and then letting me stay in the attic. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people I built my business from an attic. Because that was the first year I stayed with my mom. The second year and a half, I stayed in the attic. And then after that, I moved back into my my condo, and then I bought a second place, and I've been at the second place since then.
Man,
this is like a dream. You
to do Airbnb and stay at the attic at the same time.
You said what made me think I could do that?
Yeah.
I mean, so the thing about, and that's what I always tell people, you gotta chase every opportunity. So and you gotta see the positive in everything. With every negative, there's a positive, but you got to focus on the positive, okay? The negative in my situation was that I got a letter saying that if I don't stop Airbnb, they're going to charge me $1,000. I didn't take that as a negative. I took that, okay, all right, well, they said if I go to this class, I only got to pay $100 and get my license, and I could be able to do this. But while I was there, I met this couple that led me to something even better. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, in every situation, there's an opportunity. And if you've already programmed your mind to find every opportunity in a situation, you find it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Just like Perfect Office, which now is it's an organization, right? With 3 different locations, 135 private offices, with 2 more cities launching this year, would have never existed if I had never asked my first landlord, hey, can I help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have never known that this is something that's needed, or something that I could actually do. You know what I'm saying? But I think sometimes, even in situations, if we focus on what we can get out of a situation all the time, sometimes it doesn't work. Just look for opportunities and look for ways that you can improve yourself. And I think things just align. I mean, it's crazy, because I could have never predicted what's going on right now. You know what I mean? I can't. But
you're dropping bombs out here.
What 2 cities you launching this year?
2 cities. Oh, he wants me to tell him.
You got to spill the beans.
Let me guess, Texas is one.
Texas and Georgia.
No. It's still local. So we're gonna be launching 40 offices in Riverdale come October time frame, and then 50 offices in Columbia, Maryland come around like November time frame. So. Yeah, so before the end of the year, we'll have over 240 plus offices for entrepreneurs.
What are you doing different? Because, you got competition out here.
Don't worry about the competition. Competition ain't like you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I think everybody's unique.
That's smart.
I think everybody's different.
Yeah.
I think you bring something to the table that no one else brings to the table. And you can focus on a competition, yes, but you cannot focus on a competition and focus on what you're actually providing to the people you're servicing. So, I mean, competition can't do what we do. We provide affordable, professional, and flexible office space. Okay, some of our competitors, they might provide something affordable, but it's not necessarily affordable, professional and flexible. And some might provide something that's professional, but it's not affordable. So we have that that great mix of, you know, just affordability, being professional and also being flexible. So, and so that's why it's called Perfect Office.
So you plan on moving to other states?
Oh yeah, why not? The goal is we want to be everywhere.
Go. Take it everywhere.
So when you say
Everywhere.
we, right? When
Yes.
you say we, are you referring to you and your employees, or you
partners?
this with other people?
You know, people always ask me that question. When you say we, are you talking about you're in ownership with someone else, or
Yeah.
No. Both companies I own 100%. But when I say we,
That's a branding
it's-
phrase.
it is a branding phrase. But the thing is this: it's more than just me
Yeah.
that makes up Perfect Staffing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have my coworkers that I work with. You have the employees that we service. You have the clients that we service, and then you have other people indirectly that benefit from that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe one of our staff that's making income, but yes, she's using that money to pay for her kid to go to school. So that's the part of the we.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
it's funny you say that because
Yeah.
in one of your Instagram posts you said the most exciting part about my job is giving back.
Exactly.
You know, so like to define, matter of fact, what is success to you?
Man, the thing, success. Ooh, that's a deep question. I don't even know. I got to pause for a second. I mean, I think success is it's a lot greater than what I can put in my pocket. To summarize it, it's more so what I can put in other people's pockets. You know what I'm saying? Because when I started out, you know, to become an entrepreneur, I just wanted to make enough money to feed myself. You know what I'm saying? That was it. If you look at my my plan, what do you call that thing? My business plan.
Business plan, yeah.
Thank you. If you look at my business plan, and sometimes I sit back and I look at it, the first year I just wanted to make $100,000, right, for my staffing agency. The second year I wanted to make $250,000, and the third year I just wanted to make $300,000. And I didn't. Sometimes people make 3-year plans, 5-year plans, 7-year plans. I didn't even want to make a 5 to 7 year plan. As long as I was at $300,000 a year, that was all I was happy with. But our first year in business, we did $400,000 in business.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Second year, 800. Next year, we doubled that. So the thing is this. Sometimes as individuals, we limit ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's why at the end of a lot of times when you look at my posts on Instagram or Facebook, I always say, let's be great. You know what I'm saying? Greatness is one of those things that can't be quantified. It's just like being your best every single day. Trying
Facts.
to, you know what I'm saying? Trying
Facts,
to be,
yeah.
So because sometimes we limit ourselves, you know. So every day when I wake up, I just try to say, whatever you did yesterday or whatever you've done, you can do twice that or even better. So I get up every day excited because I'm like, dang, if I can do better, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see next year. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true.
So
how do you go into business with yourself?
how do I go into business with myself? Are you talking about
This is all from you pretty much like you.
We did our research.
You said in one of your Instagram posts like
Yep.
go into business with yourself. Well, something along those lines, and it kind of asked myself,
yes.
how do I go into
Okay.
business with my own self?
So I think what you're talking about is the fact that so Perfect Staffing, which is the staffing company, provides staff for the office-based company.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, and for the office-based company, each location we have a community assistant that does the day-to-day operation of each location, and then of course the community assistants, they all report to myself.
Okay.
So, and I can probably get a little bit more in detail another time, but basically, what we did since you have to be your biggest customer, right? So, in a way, okay, I have this other organization here that apparently needs staff, right? But I also run a staffing company, so why not?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes perfect sense.
We hire our staff from Perfect Staffing, and and then at the same time, Perfect Staffing needs a place to operate, right? We need office space, so we rent office space from Perfect Office.
Yeah, I got openings.
There's always openings.
Man, what's the website, man? I'm about to go put my application in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Where do you find time to have fun, man? Like I know you
Man,
mentioned, you know what I'm
whew.
saying, like those days are in a bag, but you know,
Yeah, some people
I don't see no ring, you know, like you gotta.
You even take like some time off because you seem like somebody who's always on the edge. Like I can't get away from this because something might go wrong that might derail everything else.
Yeah, so that's a loaded question. So the thing is this: I have fun all the time. When you're chasing your dream, I'm telling you, the excitement in you, you know what I'm saying,
that's
and
facts.
the level in which you move, it's fun.
Yeah.
Every day is something different. I can tell you there's no day that's the same for me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, too, of course I have fun. I mean, I like to get out there, you know, hang out with friends, you know, dance, you know, just play basketball, you know. I mean, just like anything, really. Like, there's time. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, most of the time we think we don't have enough time. But you'll be surprised how much time you actually have if you cut out some of the distractions and some of the noise. You know what I'm saying?
That's
if
true.
you ask me about a TV show right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't watch TV. You know what I'm saying? I don't. That's right there.
That says a lot.
That's
yo. Like,
priorities.
That says a lot.
Priorities.
That's 15 to 20 hours of your time back. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I probably have more time than the regular person who has a job. When I have more time now than I had when I had a job. Because when I had a job, that's what I used to do. Wake up early, fuss about waking up early. Take a shower, fuss about that. Iron my clothes, fuss about that. Get in my car, drive to work in traffic, fuss about that. Get to work, pretend that I'm working. Actually, wait till lunchtime. Boom, you know, eat lunch, and then another 4 hours go by, and then you drive back. Then you're tired.
Then you gotta do it again.
Then you make up an excuse. You're like, man, I don't work so hard. You know what? Let me go happy hour. Okay, you go happy hour. You're drinking or smoking or whatever. Time is flying by. Okay, you get back home. You're like, turn on the TV. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of time we waste. Even me at this time, there's a lot of time I waste. You know what I'm saying? But it's about taking those little times that we have, right? Applying it to something that we call our dreams. And you'll be so surprised what happens. I can't even believe I've been doing this for 4 years.
Wow.
You know?
Just to piggyback on what Reflex said, you know, I mean, the question he asked you, he said, well, about the marriage thing, right? You know, something you said.
Everybody wants to know.
You said it's not easy.
My mom want to know.
Oh yeah, you not dreading too, and you ain't got no bands on that head.
My mom always asks me, so when is the time?
When is the time?
You know what you got to hit them with since they're spiritual? In God's time.
I like it.
You got to hit them with that. You got to say in God's time.
I like it. I like it.
And then you just...
I want grandkids.
You know what I asked my mom one day? I said, Mom, do you want kids? Because that's easy. Or do you want me to be in a successful and happy marriage?
That's a
You
legit
know,
question.
that kind of stunned her because I'm sure in the back of her mind she still wants the kids. You know, because she wants to be a grandmother. But you know, the thing about relationships is that, you know, a lot of times all of us are quick to rush into a relationship, right? But what we got to do is slow down and figure out where do we see ourselves, right? And then also, if you're going to pick a partner, if you're going to pick somebody to be in a relationship with you, you got to figure out somebody who brings something to the table. Okay. Someone who adds to you so that you can get to where you or you too want to be. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have a relationship like that, I just feel like it's not healthy and eventually it's going to break up. So why even waste your time?
Yep.
So for me, I think when I get to that point where I've identified an individual that I think adds so much value to myself, but at the same time it's reciprocal. I add value to them. I help them grow. They help me grow. I think that's when it happens. But that individual has to be great on their own, just like I plan to be great on my own.
Yeah.
And then together, oh my goodness.
Power couple.
He's looking for his Michelle. Yo. Come on.
Power couple. You can call it whatever you want to call it.
So you're a recruiter. So our audiences that listen to the show, they're young adult professionals.
Yes.
Can you give us an insight on the job market? in terms of like what sector of careers are like booming right now that you like, damn, skyrocketing.
Right. So the thing about the job market is that every sector is booming. Okay. I think what we need to start focusing as individuals who are looking for work is you got to find out the value that you bring for that organization. Okay. So if you have something of value that you bring to that organization, it doesn't matter if 100 people just interview for that job, because those 100 people won't be able to bring what you bring. So you got to really study. You know, right now when we're applying for jobs, we're just doing it haphazardly. You know, like, oh, I'm going to put 100 resumes and see what happens. No. You know what I'm saying? Find an organization that aligns with what you're trying to get accomplished. Study that organization. Figure out exactly where you can fit in and help them grow, right? And then find a way to communicate that to that organization. I'm telling you, if somebody come to me right now and, you know, and they want to work for me, and they tell me, hey, Chiko, I see your goal is to double your organization. You all are great. You've done this, but this is a missing piece that you all are missing. This is what you're missing. And I have that. If I apply this to your organization, this is where your organization grows. I'm hiring that person all day long. Even if I don't need a recruiter or a manager, come on in. You just showed me something of value that you can bring that no one else has been able to do. I'm hiring you right now. How much you want to make? Oh, that's how much you want to make? That's fine too. You get what I'm saying? So us as individuals looking for work, we got to figure out the value we bring to an organization and then find a way to communicate that. I'm telling you, you won't have any problem with someone hiring you.
Ours.
That's really deep. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
I get that for free.
That just spoke to me because I'm on like 100 applications like the past week. Yeah, that's appreciate that.
Find out the value you bring to the organization. Communicate that. You'll get the job.
Study up on the company. You know? Don't just like put in your resume and wait for that phone call. Like,
I agree.
When you writing down your resume to that specific company, just like find out what that missing piece is, and if you could like help out, that would be great.
Yep.
So do you have like possible like tips for people who, you know, like you said, find about a company? Do you have like tips of how they could go about?
Yeah. I mean, nowadays companies are social. Like, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go on Snapchat, go on their website. You know, because these different elements of social interaction helps you to understand what type of company it is. You know what I mean? Like, for example, when I started Perfect Staffing, right? The first company I had a contract with, because, by the way, when I started Perfect Staffing, I didn't realize that I needed a license to staff for healthcare. It was until my friend called me and he was like, hey, Chiko, I just saw that you posted on Facebook that you started a staffing company. Congratulations. But let me ask you a question. When did you get your staffing license? I said, staffing license? I said, what is that? He said, you need a staffing license to be able to staff hospitals.
Wow.
Or staff nurses. Mm-hmm. I said, somebody should have told me this before I quit my job. Because I can't go back and say I'm coming back. No, I said, somebody should have told me this before I quit my job. So what I did was, I had to write a policy and procedure. I had to get all these requirements and I submitted it in. But in the meantime, while I was waiting to get that license, I was like, okay, I got to go find a way to make money. So what I was doing was I was applying to different jobs as a recruiter. So I would look at companies that are looking for a recruiter. I apply as a recruiter. When I would go to the interview, I would say, hey, this is the value I bring to your organization. This is where I think I can help you get to. But if you plan to hire me, you have to hire me through Perfect Staffing as a temp. Okay? So I had a couple interviews like that. One of the companies, actually a large company now, a tech company called 2U. They're doing some wonderful stuff in the education space. So they hired me as to be a recruiter for their Georgetown team to recruit nurses. So while I was doing that, I forgot your question. You said, do I have tips for
people looking for jobs?
People looking for jobs. Okay. So while I was going into work, right, to recruit for them, it was a young tech company. I didn't realize that it was a young tech company, and they were wearing like, they wear jeans. Yeah. And they weren't. And now, mind you,
Came in there with the whole suit.
Exactly, that came in with the whole suit and tie and everything. And everybody's looking at me like, who's this guy? Exactly, who's this corporate guy? So after I came in about 5 days like that, the CEO called me to the side. He's like, "Hey, man, you're making my employees feel uncomfortable. I mean, tomorrow when you come in, can you dress down?" So the reason I bring that up is that when you go on social media and look up these companies and study them, you kind of see the type of culture that they have, which then allows you to find out if that's the type of culture you want to be in.
Yeah.
And if it is, then you already got a leg up for how to present yourself. You know what I'm saying? How to go about community. Because some companies, if you maybe shoot them a Facebook, shoot them a Facebook message, they might be able to respond to you faster than an email. So you just got to figure out, study the company and figure out what works.
Yeah. You do mentor people, right?
All the time.
Talk a little bit about that.
I mentor anybody that's willing to be mentored. So if you want mentorship, just reach out to me. I'm not close to that. I'm not like, I mentor anybody, honestly. It's just,
do you have like requirements? Like,
no. If you want to be mentored and you're actually willing to
just
listen,
have that drive.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people always reach out and say, "Hey, I want to be mentored. Hey, I want to be mentored," and you give them one thing and they don't do it. So you're just like, hold up. Do they want to be mentored, or are they just saying that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people just talk and don't really listen to themselves talk. So if you want mentorship, reach out to me, whether it's business, personal, anything, really, honestly, because I think I can give something, and then I think also I can learn something from anybody. Because sometimes I learn stuff from my mentees, what to do or what not to do. You know what I mean? So it's just like I think people learn from me on what to do and what not to do. So
how do people reach you?
The way people can reach me is
Snapchat.
Yeah. Of course, my phone number. If you have that, then and Facebook, social media, Instagram, email. I can be reached. I'm not hard to find.
Man, bros,
you got any stories?
I got stories, man. No, Chiko, I want to thank you, man, for coming on the platform.
Yes.
This. You can chop up any minute in this, and you're gonna get gems.
Oh wow!
It's been great. But we like to do a little segment that we call stories. And
hold on, can I? Sorry,
go ahead.
Cut you short. Could you please tell the listeners the type of services you offer?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you all for actually this platform. It's an amazing platform. You all are doing some great job, a great job. Continue to push it. I'm telling you, by the time you know it, you all are gonna be seeing some stuff. But you said the services that I provide?
Yes, the services.
I only provide 2 services pretty much. So in terms of the 2 organizations that I run. So one is staffing. So if you're an organization out there that needs temps on a regular basis, or someone to recruit for your company, we offer those services. If you are like a healthcare worker or someone looking for a job. If you're someone looking for a job, reach out to us. We can either help you find a job, or we can assist you in pointing you in the right direction. So that's that with the staffing company. In terms of the office space company, if you are an entrepreneur or even like thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, like reach out to us. We have different services that cater to entrepreneurs, whether it's a private office space or whether it's just a membership where you can just get access to conference rooms and meeting rooms for $99 a month. I mean, that's less than most people's cell phone bills. You can have access to all these locations I'm talking about. We have Laurel, we have Beltsville, we have Lanham, and then we have Riverdale coming up, and then we have Columbia coming up, and then next year, who knows? We might go crazy and launch 5 locations.
Texas.
You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Nationwide. Take it.
So who knows, man?
Yeah.
So if you're an entrepreneur, definitely reach out to us. If you're an entrepreneur have questions about how to get your business to the next level, I have a lot of mentors. I have a lot of mentees, I guess, that I mentor, and that just reach out to us. Like where you want to be in terms of entrepreneurship.
Man.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it.
Just got 2 stories, man. One is major news. Everybody knows McGregor lost last night to Conor, to Mayweather. But you know, I want to, like, one thing he said is like, nobody's taking these kind of risks. I'll take it on the chin. I like that, because if you ask me, he walks away unembarrassed and with a lot of money.
$100 million check.
Yeah.
And then you know what I'm saying, we just want to, you know, mourn with, you know, those who've lost their lives in Houston right now. Still flooding there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's major. So those are just the two that I got right now. Yeah, keeping it, you know, major today.
Yeah.
Chiko.
Yes.
Chico Daddy.
The
That's
world,
right.
Chico.
Appreciate you coming on the pod, man.
Thank you. Thank you all for
Yes,
having
sir.
me.
Nah, appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming through. It's been great.
It's been great. It's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge, man. I'm about to take this thing and, you know, reapply it to my own personal life, because
Hey, if you don't take what this man's saying and apply it in your life, you slacking.
You're playing yourself. Stuck in the Middle podcast.
hey, we out.
We out.